And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and also on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, and you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Dial directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, in today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is John Matthews with his series, The Conservative Syndicate. My special guest is Sean Lefebvre with his series, Geared for Wellness. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. But first up, I want to tell you that it's currently 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Now, let me give you a capsulated version of the news that's going on, the 10 things that you need to know for today, and then we'll get in more into depth about what's going on. This is your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about today. First up, Trump underwhelms as the GOP candidates debate substantive policy. The candidates wrangled over immigration, gay marriage, foreign affairs, and other issues. And two, thousands pour into Croatia after clashes. The move sets up a new path toward Western Europe after Hungary uses tear gas and water cannons to keep refugees out of its territory. Next up is the decision on rate hike may be a toss-up. The Federal Reserve may finally begin raising its benchmark rate from record lows, possibly heralding high rates in an economy that is much sturdier, helped rescue the economy, and that's much sturdier than it once needed in 2008. Now, what experts call a bigger ever rescue of its kind. Since the world was alerted by the AP to a slave inland in Indonesia just 6 months ago, more than 2,000 men have been identified and sent home. Next up in the news, major quake shakes northern Chile. A magnitude 8.3 trembler in the Pacific rattles Chileans, killing at least 5 people and shaking the earth so strongly that it's felt on the other side of the continent. Next up, a hashtag, I stand with Ahmad, popular on social media. Encouragement pours in from across the nation for Ahmad Mohammed, a 14-year-old Muslim boy in Texas whose homemade electric clock led to his arrest and suspension from school. Next up is a transgender student's battle divides a Virginia town. Determining which restroom a transgender high school student uses is a new and modern question for the rural eastern Virginia county of Gloucester. Next up is the General Motors said to settle a criminal case over ignitions. Federal prosecutors reach a deal with the automaker to resolve a criminal probe into how what the heck is going on here? Everything is going nutso here with me today. It just seems to be that's the way it's going to be. Anyway, the federal prosecutors reach a deal with the automaker to resolve a criminal probe into how it broke the law by concealing a deadly problem with small car ignition switches, sources tell the AP. The next item up is Fallon declares Hillary Clinton's hair real. The Tonight Show host calls the Democratic presidential candidate a tough mother and pulls her hair at her invitation. And then finally, why authorities are concerned about stadium drones. While most are flown by lobbyists, law enforcement is worried that and trying to figure out how to stop them from doing major damage at sporting events. So, we got to keep these things in mind when we're doing all that stuff. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to deal with the news in depth. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? Let's talk about some news. Here's, you heard me talk about the Feds and what they were going to propose today. Well, let me tell you what happened. The Fed leaves the key interest rate unchanged, citing low inflation. The Federal Reserve is keeping U.S. interest rates at record lows in the face of threats from a weak global economy, persistently low inflation, and unstable financial markets. While the U.S. job market is solid, global pressures may restrain economic activity and further drag down already low inflation. Now, the Fed said today in a statement after ending a policy meeting, signs of a sharp slowdown in China and other emerging economies have intensified fear among investors about the U.S. and global economy, and low oil prices and a high-paced dollar have kept inflation undesirably low. The Fed's announcement ended weeks of speculation about whether it might finally be ready to raise rates from the record lows that it first set at the depths of the 2008 financial crisis. The ultra-low loan rates the Fed engineered were intended to help the economy recover from the Great Recession. Since then, the economy has nearly fully recovered, even as pressures from abroad appear to have grown. So, you know what? That's good news. Nobody really wanted to see the rates go up. It just seemed like it was just a bit premature. Let's talk about General Motors. They're going to pay $900 million over that ignition switch scandal that was going on. General Motors agreed to pay the $900 million to fend off criminal prosecution over the deadly ignition switch scandal, striking a deal that brought criticism down on the Justice Department for not bringing charges against individual employees. The switches, which can slip out of the run position and cut off the engine, have been linked to at least 169 deaths. Despite evidence that GM's legal and engineering staffs concealed the problem for nearly a decade, no employees were charged today, though U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara said the investigation is still going on. Also, today GM announced it will spend $575 million to settle the majority of the civil lawsuits filed over the scandal. Under the deal, with prosecutors, an independent monitor will be appointed to oversee General Motors' handling of safety problems. 2 charges drawn up against General Motors, wire fraud and scheming to conceal information from government regulators, will be dropped after 3 years if the automaker cooperates fully. General Motors agreed to a statement of facts that describes in scathing terms its deceptive and dismissive approach to the defect. They let the public down, Bharara said. They didn't tell the truth in the best way that they should have to the regulators, to the public, about this serious safety issue that misled and risked the lives and limbs of the general public. That's just the way it is. Well, let's talk about Fiorina. She looks to turn the debate accolades into dollars and votes. Well, no secret anymore. Propelled by her standout debate performance, Carly Fiorina sought today to turn accolades for her crisp, confident showing into actual support from voters and donors. It's a quest that will determine whether her breakthrough moment is a turning point in the Republican primary or simply a footnote. After a few hours of sleep, Fiorina blitzed through 6 morning show interviews, an on-air victory lap of sorts. In early voting states, her small staff fielded calls from local officials eager to pledge their support. After last night, I'm with Carly Fiorina, said Brian Gold, a New Hampshire lawyer who was among those reaching out to Fiorina's team. Gold had also been considering Senators Marco Rubio of Florida and Ted Cruz of Texas, or retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson. But he said Fiorina displayed the maturity he's been looking for in a candidate. Fiorina's Iowa chairman, Christopher Rance, spent the day trying to make sure the candidates' upcoming events in the state had space for bigger crowds. We wanted to hold 150 people. Better make sure it holds 200, maybe more, he said. For Fiorina, this burst of attention will spur fresh scrutiny on her business record while she ran the technology company Hewlett-Packard, and a deeper examination of her current statements and policy positions. So we'll see what happens, but there's no question about this. She did seem to really, really shine last night. In my opinion, she won that debate. So the rest of it's just there. And I think really, Trump just sort of went along with the whole process, didn't do anything special or anything outstanding. So that's kind of what's going on there. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to deal with the IRS loses. And the first case up is a return repairer's fraud is attributable to the taxpayer and not the return preparer. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show. The IRS loses. It just sends chills up and down my spine, but I don't want to waste a lot of time. Let's get right to it. First case up is a return preparer's fraud is attributable not to the return preparer, but to the taxpayer. Let me tell you about it. Truck driver Vincent Allen hired a tax professional to prepare his return for him. The professional included several false deductions on the return without Allen being aware of it. Now, the IRS found out and asserted back taxes and penalties, but Allen objected that the 3-year statute of limitations had run out on the return. The IRS answered that fraud had been committed on the return, so the limitation period didn't apply. But Allen protested that he hadn't committed the fraud. So he went to court, and this is what the judge said. They fined for the IRS. The return was fraudulent regardless of who committed the fraud, so no limitation period actually does apply. Now, there's a shock for you, right? Yeah. You know, you can't get away with all of it. You're supposed to know. By the way, just in case you were wondering, right at the bottom of your tax return on page 2, right at the bottom where it asks you to sign it, it says that you're signing it under penalties of perjury and that you're saying that everything on that return is accurate and honest and true. So no matter who prepared it, guess who's on the line? How about this? It's a pitfall. Social clubs lose tax-exempt status for receiving too much income from the public. Let me tell you about it. Social clubs formed for the nonprofit recreational purposes of their members can be exempt under the tax code, but they can receive no more than 35% of their gross receipts from non-member sources, such as investment income, and no more than 15% from the use of the club's facilities or services by the general public, such as from renting out club facilities. So there's some danger here. The IRS has recently issued several rulings revoking the tax-exempt status of social clubs that violated these limits. So, if you're an officer of such a club, be aware of how much income it receives from the public. It's a big, big deal. Now, I'm going to give you another case here. And something, it's a pitfall, and that is, you couldn't get to a small case tax court by disputing only part of the tax. So we're just talking about common sense here. You know, an individual protested an IRS collection action in tax court and sought to use the simplified small case division that is available for cases involving no more than $50,000. But there's a snag here. The total tax subject to collection was more than $60,000, but the individual conceded that $20,000 and contested only $40,000 of the tax bill, saying this brought the case under that limit. So this is what the court actually had to say. The tax code says that small case procedures are available when the unpaid tax that the IRS has determined to collect does not exceed $50,000. The total unpaid tax in the IRS determination letter was $60,000, so that was over the limit. So the small case option is not available. It's not like a small claims court issue where you can simply say, I'm going to sue for less than what I've got coming to me. In this particular case, it is a limitation that's set there by law. So that's kind of what's happening here. Now, you ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Now, let's get into that, okay? Oh, yeah, here we are. Let's talk about a contingent attorney's fees in the IRS. The IRS will generally take the position that the entire legal award received by a taxpayer must be considered part of the taxpayer's gross income, and the contingency fee paid to the attorney be classified as an itemized deduction. You know, for legal fees, and may be reduced by eliminating that after the consideration. So you want to be careful about how this is happening. That means that the entire reward is going to be deemed to have been yours, and the attorney fee is going to be subject to that 2% reduction on your itemized deductions, and that's kind of what's happening in that case. So hopefully that makes it go that way. You can get in on some legal fees if it's for the protection of taxable income. You can actually get another section of your itemized deductions if you itemize your deductions, by the way. If you don't get this deduction. There's a spot where it is not subject to that 2% limitation, and you can take it off dollar for dollar. So you want to look at that, but the best way to do it is to always go to a tax professional who knows precisely what the law is and what's going on. You know what? You generally don't want to try and represent yourself. It just doesn't make sense. You're generally going to always save more money than it costs you to use a tax professional. And part of their licensing requirement is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they give you the wrong advice or they make a mistake, you don't have to pay the piper. The preparer does. That should give you some peace of mind and let you sleep at night. Just give that some thought, will you? How about this? When you owe the IRS money and borrow money from a bank, you know, a corporate officer who enters into a loan agreement that provides that a bank must approve all expenditures, including the payment of payroll taxes, does not relieve himself or herself of responsible person status. He's still personally liable for the company's willful failure to pay the trust fund, that's withholding for Social Security taxes. The requirement to pay federal payroll taxes supersedes the contractual restriction imposed by the bank. So just know you're not going to get away with that kind of stuff. Not going to happen. So let me give you one last one. Where does your business actually stand? Well, more than 95% 25% of business tax returns filed in the United States report annual gross receipts of less than $1 million. Last year, approximately 25 million businesses tax returns were actually filed. Of these, almost 18 million were filed as sole proprietorships. Another interesting fact, the 5% of the business tax returns that had annual gross receipts of more than $1 million accounted for 92% of the aggregate business gross receipts that were actually reported. So keep that in mind. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness group. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 82 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. I mean, that's beautiful weather, folks. And it's on its way down to 56 degrees. But you know what? Let's not waste any time. I want to get my next guest in here. He's just one of my good buddies. So let's get him in here right now.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. Good to have you back here with us again. You know what? I love it. You're the only person I get to talk to a couple times a week, and I actually look forward to it. It's just, you're a very articulate and well-rounded guy, and I just love talking to you. So, consider that an
Are you talking about my stomach now, the whole well-rounded part, or is that just,
I'm just trying to compliment the hell out of you. That's all.
Well, I appreciate that. I actually had a conversation with someone. It was probably, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, or something like that. And we were talking about the radio show, and I said, you know what? That this is probably, in my professional career, it's the one thing that I know that I always look forward to the most. I mean, I do a lot of really cool things, but I love doing the show. It's something, I don't get paid for it, but I love doing it, and I love the conversation with you, and just, get to talk about all the different stuff that we talk about. So yeah, I look forward to the show a lot. It's one of it's one of the highlights of my week every week that I'm on, and which I wasn't on last week, which was kind of sad, but I was having fun.
Well, I got to tell you, but you were on Tuesday, and that was terrific. And here's the thing, it's interesting. I don't think, Sean, there is ever a day that goes by that there's not some technical snafu that goes on. I don't understand why. I just think it's the ghost of radio that's out to scuttle me. That there's always something that's going on that I'm not expecting, and all of a sudden I'm sitting here and I'm thinking. I remember when I was on NBC Superstation at KCAA radio, and at least there we had a couple of engineers, we had all these people, all this stuff going on, and so all I had to do was talk and produce the show, right? And now, because we do all of this stuff remotely, I've got all these computer stuffs and all this software and all these things going on, and I'm sitting here just flabbergasted, trying to make sure I'm pushing the right button. Well, I'm old, and sometimes the right button I push is not the right button.
It's not the right button. I can, dealing with the radio stuff, I don't even like using my computer some days. I click left click, I don't know. I'm not a huge technology kind of guy. I like old stuff, and I like stuff that's simple. I like cars that don't have computers in them, and so yeah, I'm kind of old school. The fewer buttons, the better. I like it when dashboards are made out of steel and they have like 3 gauges on them, and there was actual switches that you flipped, and those were the good old days.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to someday when all I've got to do is push the start button and everything is just going to work.
Yeah, well, that would be awesome.
that would be great.
I think all cars are like that for the first 3 months that you own them. But,
yeah. Speaking of cars, and I know that it's not what we're going to talk about today, but did you see the thing about General Motors and their settlement, the $900 million settlement?
Oh gosh, no! Wow, I missed that one.
Well, you remember the big controversy about the ignition switches that would turn off automatically?
Yeah.
It was because of it was stupid too, because it was because of the keys, and there was just too big an eye hole in the key for the key ring, and so it let the keys slip, and it turned off the ignition because it was just kind of like a hair trigger. It was a 2-by-nothing fix, but 159 people died as a result of that, and GM covered it up over a decade, over a 10-year period, and still didn't even fix the problem, right? And so,
isn't that crazy?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is absolutely crazy stuff. Anyway, that's not what we want to talk about. But we don't want to lose our head over this. And speaking of losing our heads, I did send you something, and I hope you looked at it. We could talk about it a little bit. I was absolutely astounded, Sean, to find out that, and I believe it's in Switzerland. I could be mistaken about that, but there are experiments going on, being finalized, and it looks like that perhaps early next year, medical science is going to attempt to do its very first head transplant. You want to talk about that?
I don't really know what there is to talk about other than exactly what you just said. It's mind blowing to think. Somebody's been watching Timmy Isis videos and goes, well, "Wait a minute, I got an idea." To think that you could sever someone's all the connected tissue. I mean, just the spinal cord alone.
Yeah,
that part. To think that they could put that back together. That boggles my mind because that's just a cluster of nerves.
So let me interrupt you for just 1 second and take this into another level, because it just blows my mind that you could put all this stuff together, somebody else's brains, eyes, their olfactory glands, all the stuff that makes your entire body work, your heart pumping and lungs going and all these things, and they can put all this together and everything's going to work. Does that also mean that if they can put these nerves and all these connections and these synapses together, that perhaps these people that have been paralyzed from the neck down for all of their lives because of catastrophic accidents and things, they can now be repaired?
Yeah, and that was my thought too. I thought, well, gosh, if we could do that, why wouldn't we be able to fix someone like Christopher Reeves? When he had his horse accident. The damage. If you look at damage that was done to his spine, was so small. It was amazing, the tiny amount of pressure that created. And of course it immediately paralyzed him, but what most people don't realize, I guess maybe they did, but was his body slowly started shutting down because the pressure on the nerves that created the instant paralysis, what it also did was it disrupted that communication between his brain and the rest of his body. And so things just slowly, they could still function, but what they weren't able to do was the signals were not able to go back and forth properly to repair.
So let's go back a little bit, because I just want to make sure I get it clear. So with Christopher Reeves, his spinal cord was let's just call it emaciated. It was crushed, as opposed to being severed. Is that correct?
Right. It was just crushed. He had one vertebrae. I think it was his top vertebrae in his neck that was I think broken, and the other one was cracked. The second one was cracked. I don't know which one was broken and which one was cracked. But the damage was so small. I mean, you could cover all the damage with your pinky. I mean, it wasn't like it was this massive dislocation of his head. I mean, it was just a crack, and people break bones and they break even vertebrae all the time. But it was in such a vital area. That area, your neck, that's everything runs through there. Everything. And so for Christopher Reeves, what happened was that damage to the spinal column, to the vertebra, it actually created a pressure that instantly caused the paralysis. But because that nerve conductivity was diminished, the signals couldn't travel back and forth as efficiently. The organs started to shut down. They just couldn't keep up with repairing themselves, and so each individual organ slowly started dying. He went on, paralysis, and he went on, paralysis, dialysis, and he did paralysis, but then he got dialysis, and then he got a breathing machine, and they had to go through all these steps until finally there was just nothing left.
So let me ask you another question. When we're talking about the brain stem coming from the skull down into the spinal cord, and then into the, I guess it goes right in the middle of your spine. Is that an extremely small thing? It's like it's encased. It's almost like it's encased in wrapped wires, right? But is it thick? Is it well protected? Is it would seem to me that, I've been alive 70 years and haven't come close to ever, and I've done a lot of stupid things and never really hurt my spinal cord. I'm guessing that it's pretty well protected.
It's extremely protected. It literally has a column of bone that your spine forms when you're conceived. As you develop, your spine forms as a solid tube of bone, and then as you grow in the womb, it splits off into each individual vertebra, and of course it's got the spinal cord going through there, and it actually closes itself off as you develop. It actually is open in the back, and then it closes off, and you get those spinous process that stick out the back of the vertebrae. They look like those little fins, and so it's really an amazing, delicate process that spine, is the only part of your body that is completely encased in bone. We have a rib cage, to protect our heart and lungs, but it's not fully encased like the spinal column. That is so important because as we learned from Christopher Reeve, someone can break their back, boom, they're paralyzed. They break their neck, they're paralyzed, or they can die. that's, I mean, all you have to do is break someone's neck and you're instantly dead.
So let me go there for a minute because just because I'm inquisitive. So let's assume whether you're in war or whether it's just an accident, but you get your neck broken. What actually kills you? Is it because your brain is no longer telling your heart to beat?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's because the nerve supply just got shut off. It's like literally taking a hose with water and and squishing it flat so nothing can get through anymore until your body literally just shuts down.
So because the heart's an involuntary muscle, it's the brain that keeps telling it to keep beating and beating and beating. And if you turn off the contact between the brain and the heart stops beating and you die.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens. Your muscles can't function. That's why you collapse the floor. Instant paralysis, and then all of the organs just stop functioning because the brain is no longer able to communicate. It would be like having a remote control airplane, and all of a sudden you turned off the remote control unit, and it couldn't hear it anymore. The airplane would just end up going into a spiral and hit the ground. So yeah, that's exactly what kills you is your body just stops.
Okay, so now going back to and we're coming full circle here. So now we're coming back to this head transplant, which is just blows me away here. I mean, I can't even imagine. First of all, it's got to be such an intricate surgery to take place. And I mean, you got to stop the heart, you got to stop the blood flow, you got to stop the lungs, you got to stop everything, or at least bypass all this stuff. And then you got to start getting a team of microsurgeons or surgeons in there to start putting. This has got to be. I mean, this is not something that can take place in just a day worth of surgery, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't know how long that surgery would take, and like you said, you've got to put the person on a heart and lung machine so that they're still breathing and their heart is still beating, or at least the heart's not beating, but the blood is still being pumped through. It's called a perfusion machine. You got to get a perfusionist out there to keep the blood flowing. But then when you cut the head, those veins are huge in your neck.
Yeah.
And so now you've got to block those things off before you cut the head off. And then you've got all those nerves. Like, I can't even imagine each layer of delicate slicing that needs to be done to cut a person's head off. But once you do that, you obviously keep the body alive, but then you've got to keep the other head alive at the same time.
Yeah.
That's just I can't.
I mean, don't you have to keep the brain oxygenated from the donor head? And I mean, it just blows.
Yeah. They say that brain damage occurs, I think, 4 minutes of oxygen or something like that. After 4 minutes, then you're going to start, it may even be less than that. It may be 3 minutes, but whatever. So you only got a few minutes that the brain can live without oxygenation.
Okay, so hold that thought, because when we come back from this commercial message, we've got some more brain games to play here, and right, with our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. You know what? And gosh, I hope you haven't been missing this segment. We've been losing our heads, actually, sort of. We were talking about this new modality that's coming out. You know, we've got heart transplants and liver transplants and lung transplants. And looks like sometime next year there's going to be a full head transplant. You know, it's kind of reminiscent of Frankenstein a little bit.
Yeah, that's all I could think of is young Frankenstein, and I'm like, whose head did we use? Abby Normal, I think it was. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Sean, and this might be a little controversial because it actually deals with another really good friend of mine. She's a PhD, and she deals in uninvasive brain modalities. And you actually talked to her, interviewed her a couple of weeks ago. And rather than mentioning her name, I want to just talk about the issues. You know, we're talking about brain stems. We're talking about rejuvenating the brain, recross-wiring the brain. You know, I can give you, for the lack of a better term, because I'm sounding or feeling very inarticulate right now, when somebody has a brain injury, generally what happens, if they get the right kind of therapy, another part of the brain kind of takes over for that part that lost the ability to function. So it kind of reconstitutes or rewires things. And this individual that we had, you were interviewing here a couple weeks ago, was talking about this modality that she was using that actually has been very successful in getting the brain to do a lot of things. One of the things that she talked about was, you know, when you have the loss of short-term memory and long-term memory because of catastrophic accidents, things like that, that this non-invasive therapy that she uses can actually encourage and get the brain to you're able to get all of those functions back again after a while, and it doesn't take but just 2 or 3 months. I'm astounded by that. Are you in support of, I shouldn't say in support of that, anybody would be in support of it, but do you believe in that, or is it hocus pocus, or is it a reality?
I do believe in it, and I think it is a reality, and the term that you were looking for is called neuroplasticity. Mm-hmm. And what they say is the brain is really not it's not set in like concrete. It's more like Jell-O. You can kind of warm it up, if you want to call it that. Speaking metaphorically, you just kind of warm it up and soften it up, and let's say you got one of those, what's that called, you put the can of fruit mixed in with the Jell-O, and you make the
macerate it.
Yeah, you could heat up the Jell-O and then move the fruit around, and kind of the brain works the same way. It's not a concrete thing. If one part of your brain receives damage, you can relearn. Let's say it affects a certain motor function or whatever. You can relearn that. Your body can be taught again how to walk again or talk. There are people who have lost the ability to talk, and they have to relearn that ability. They literally have to learn how to talk, like from the very beginning.
Well, I can actually give you an example of that, and it's actually a personal example. Many years ago, back in the early 1980s, I got into a catastrophic accident, and I lost my short-term memory, my long-term memory. I lost my ability to speak. I had a difficult time. I had a really wonderful vocabulary, but I had the words right there on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't get them out. And over time, and of course it took a lot of work, I was able to regain the ability to do those things. Now I haven't gotten my short-term memory back, but my wife tells me it's because I'm an old son of a gun, I really know that.
I'm guessing in marriage it's probably good to not have too much short-term memory.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, in marriage it's good not to have any memory at all, and just rely and let your wife know that you're relying on her for everything. One of the I've been married.
That way when you wake up in the morning, you look over, you're like, oh man, I scored again last night.
I've been married 50 years, and somebody asked me what the secret to that is, and I said, you know what? Here's the deal. I made it very clear to my wife when we first got married that I was only going to make the very most important decisions that are going to affect our lives, and all the other decisions were going to be up to her, because I frankly didn't care. Well, you know what? In 50 years of marriage, I have not yet had to make one decision. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here now.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
maybe that's my problem. That's why I'm not married anymore.
So let me, because you have some experience in this area, and gosh, I don't want to make it a personal thing, but the truth is I lost my short-term memory, back 30 years ago. Since it's been so long, if somebody were to go to someone like this individual we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, could they still regain that short-term memory, or is it just gone?
I'm a firm believer that even 30 years later, that if it was something that your body, you conditioned your body to learn, if there's a way that they know how the body can relearn to do anything, I'm a firm believer that our body has such incredible regenerative capabilities on a lot of different levels. Obviously, you can't cut a whole arm off and grow it back, but the brain has that. I mean, there have been stroke victims that have learned how to do everything again. There have been people who literally, they like you said, they had long-term and short-term memory loss and have been able to regain it. And I think it's just like anything else. It's just something that you have to understand. And I don't know how this would work. I don't know how you would regain short-term memory. But I would guess there's a way to do it. There's got to be somebody out there who can teach you how to learn to use your short-term memory muscles, if you want to call it that again. Are you
familiar with the studies that created luminosity?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so there are these software programs, and the broad stroke is called Luminosity, and they are brain teasers, brain exercisers that make you exercise your short-term memory and adaptation of your brain, and I suspect that that's probably part of what this other modality that this other person is doing involves, although she seems to say that to make it sound like it's an electrical impulse that she shoots through the brain, which is kind of a scary thought if you think about it.
Yeah, well, it kind of is a scary thought, but you think about a lot of things that we do are electrical impulses. Matter of fact, our brain is nothing but a big electric generator. If you want to call it that. Our nerves, it's just electrical signals that go back and forth to and from the the brain to the various body parts, to your toes, to your organs, and everything else. So, we know that we can use low-level electrical impulses for all kinds of things. So why not use it to rewire the brain? I mean, that's basically how the brain works anyways. It's just electrical impulses.
So you would agree then that all of these new, let's just, for the lack of a better term, Sean, let's just call them miracles, all of these new things that science is allowing us to accomplish and to do are absolute facts. It's just been a matter of trying to learn how to apply the knowledge that we have and make it work to have these things happen. I mean, it just seems like amazing things going on. Really, it wasn't that long ago when the average individual only lived to be in his 50s.
Yeah. And now we, and I think a lot of that is some of it. People still live to be, 100 plus years old, but just not as many people because of the environmental living conditions. I don't think it was so much a disease thing, but I think we can live longer. We can maintain brain function. A lot of people say, you get older. I've known people that, they were over 100 years old that, still read the Wall Street Journal and still play, like chess and those kind of things, and they're still spry and they're still bright and they can carry on a great conversation. They remember everything from the last time you talked to them. So the brain is just like anything else. You like you said, you've got that luminosity, that teaches your brain how to function, how to be, how to keep that short-term memory going, how to keep the long-term memory going. And so I'm a firm believer that the brain, it will rewire itself, remold itself. Like I said, it's got that's called, neuroplasticity. Matter of fact, they even believe that autism is a form of hyperplasticity, that the brain is too moldable. And that's what they believe, that's a part of the problem with the children who have autism. And so, the brain can become a little bit hyperplastic and be hypoplasticity. You can, but it's one of those things that you can also learn to repair as well. And so, yeah, I'm a firm believer that it's not an age thing. It's not certainly with age. What happens is a lot of things tend to seem to get worse with age, but I think it's more of a matter of we've just accumulated all this stuff in our bodies from, breathing in toxins and maybe the stress of abusing ourselves, staying up, not getting enough sleep, not recovering from things, whatever the case might be, that we've done over the years, that we've kind of worn ourselves down. But I think that it's just like a car. You maintain yourself well, keep the oil changed and keep yourself cleansed, and use the right kind of fuel. You'll last a lot longer. And I think the brain is a big part of that. Matter of fact, I'm going to this. We were talking about that Tuesday. I'm going to this women's expo this week, and I'm leaving.
Hey, listen, we got 2 minutes. I want you to talk about it, please.
Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to be going to this women's expo. It's at the Cashman Conference Center up in Las Vegas, kind of like I guess just north of the Strip area, and it's right next to an airfield, Cashman Airfield. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and this is just geared towards all kinds of women's stuff. Everything from business women to medical stuff to, fitness things or whatever. But, you go to these booths, they always want you to have something to hand out. People expect you to have pens or candy or whatever. And so I got this couple of cases, actually I got several cases of this product from a company called Designs for Health, and it's called Brain Power Sours. And they look just like, Starkists, Starbursts.
Mm-hmm.
Little Starburst, chewy square candies.
Mm-hmm.
They look and taste like a berry flavor. They taste just like those. But what they got, and they're sweetened with xylitol, I think it is, instead of sugar. And they've got the nutrition you need for proper brain function. So, we know that there's certain nutrition that affects your brain function, that affects your neuroconductivity. And if you're deficient in that, well, of course, your brain's not going to work right. And so I'm going to be handing these things out just as little things so people can see, that nutrition can be fun and it can address all kinds of issues. And who doesn't want to have, a better working brain? Everybody does. It doesn't matter what your goals are in life, whether you want to get fit, lose weight, get pregnant, or, just, get over a chronic condition or whatever. everybody wants to have a great brain on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, listen, my friend. It has been. Whoops! Whoa! What's going on? I hit the wrong button here, and I don't know how to turn the damn thing off. So let's hang on here a second. There we go. Okay, listen. You have a wonderful weekend. Have a great time in Las Vegas. Take lots of notes because I want you to report to me exactly what happened. Okay. Okay. So Sean, are you gone? Okay, Sean must be gone. So we're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back with John Matthews in the Conservative Syndicate Corner. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Unfortunately, I don't know who I have on the line with me. Do I have John or do I have Sean?
You have John.
John, good. I'm glad I got you. Boy, I don't know what was going on here. I had Sean. Sean dropped off. Then you tried to get on, and I was trying to get Sean back on. I dropped you off. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But one thing I do know, I've got you on, and this is when I need you on.
Well, yeah, that's welcome to my world.
Boy, you can say that again. I would like to have just one day on this program when there isn't some kind of a technical screw up one way or another, And speaking of one day without some kind of a technical screw up, you want to talk about the debate from yesterday?
Well, yeah, we could talk a little bit about it. There was some good things about it. There were some bad things about it, but I think overall it was one of the better opportunities to kind of thin out the herd a little bit. That's what I hope ends up happening. We'll see where the money starts flowing and who lives and dies. I think the most remarkable thing about it, I was just looking at some of the numbers today. This is actually the largest audience that has ever watched any program on CNN.
Oh, really? It was like 22,000, right?
22.9 million people. That's only 1 million less than watched the first debate, which was also a record breaker.
Wow.
So that makes me very optimistic that there are apparently a lot of people worried about what's going on, enough to watch and see what's happening out there. So that's a very, but the biggest number CNN has ever had was back in 1993 when Larry King was on. And they only had like 16 million. So this just dwarfed anything that CNN has ever done. Now, all that remains to be seen is how much Wolf Blitzer can run everything into the ground before people get tired of listening about it.
Oh, you know, he is such a mental midget. I just can't stand that guy.
You know, with the Wolf Blitzer has the one of his records that he holds, or one of his most things he's most famous for, is that he actually has the lowest score ever achieved on Jeopardy.
Oh, is that right?
I mean, yeah, he holds the accolade of having the lowest score ever on Jeopardy. And I have for some reason the night he was on, I was watching it, and I'm thinking, this guy, he gives a whole new redefinition to the word stupid. Here's a Jew that couldn't tell us where Jesus was born.
Jeez. You know, hey, listen, what do you think? You know, I don't have a lot of respect for Wolf Blitzer. I don't have a lot of respect for CNN, for that matter. But I'll tell you what, I thought last night's debate, and I didn't actually get to see it until 9:00 last night and watched it all the way into midnight. But I thought last night's debate just really surpassed the first debate.
Well, I think I didn't get to watch it because we were on the air when it was taking place. So I had to piece it together. Joe, my co-host, was watching it on his end, but he wasn't able to tell me verbatim what was going on. We tried to do little reviews and what's happening now in between commercials and stuff. But I spent most of the night watching all the news programs and surfing around and seeing what people were saying and I, for the life of me, am still trying to figure out why anybody would need to go and ask Debbie Watson and Schultz what she thought about the debate.
I didn't. First of all, I'll tell you very honestly. This is a Republican platform debate, right? I don't know why anybody would ask any Democrat what they thought of the debate, because you know what they're going to say, and so basically if you want to be objective, you pretty much don't want to be listening to MSNBC or NBC or any of those guys. You want to have some kind of an objective, news report going on.
Well, objectivity is not the name of the game in media. It was funny, though. You would think, I've watched Watson and Schultz so often, and I can tell you exactly what she's going to say on any given question. I mean, she is that predictable. And yet, last night, as they're interviewing her down at CNN, and she was down at the debate, I guess, and CNN was down there interviewing her, and she was, obviously, somebody put the teleprompter in the wrong place, because she was actually having to look up as she was talking, I guess, to see what it is she was supposed to say. And then I'm thinking, I've got your answers memorized. What do you need to be looking at a teleprompter for?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same stuff. All the middle class, they've got nothing to offer. Blah blah blah. I mean, you could go down the bullet point list. It's all. I would think by now you should be reciting this stuff in your sleep,
Yeah.
So,
well, let me. I want to take you in a different direction for a little bit, because I want to tell you, I really enjoyed seeing everybody kind of come back up and raise the level a little bit. I thought Chris Christie did a great job on the debate. I thought that Carly Fiorina did a great job on the debate. I even thought Jeb Bush did such a better job than he did in that first debate. I thought he really held his own pretty well.
Well, I'm rather biased when it comes to these, especially Chris Christie, Jeb Bush, Lindsey Graham. These people, to me, don't have the IQ of seaweed. I just don't.
Well, I was just talking about their performance. I just thought that these guys have been.
There was nobody that really did bad. I think the best tweet I saw for the night was during the first debate when Lindsey Graham was, getting all this praise. I was watching Twitter during the first debate. I did get to catch part of the first debate before we went on the air, and I was watching the Twitter feeds out there. And the best line I heard was somebody said, Lindsey Graham definitely won this debate, and he'll double in the polls to 0.06%.
Yeah, I think so. I thought that maybe I think Trump actually lost some ground last night, and I think that and I tell you what, I think Ben Carson lost some ground last night.
Yeah, I obviously the big winners last night were Fiorina, and Trump held his own, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Jeb Bush held his own. Marco Rubio, I think, picked some stuff up. I think he presented that. I don't like Marco Rubio, but he did a good job.
I don't like him either.
What credit is due.
I think he's, I think somebody just strapped training wheels on him. He's getting ready for 8 years down the road, probably. As far as Marco Rubio is concerned, I'd be shocked if he actually got anywhere close to the nomination.
Yeah, the only one that in the second debate, the only one that I would just totally, at this point, in my mind, totally discard and throw away, outside of Jeb Bush, which I did already. But Rand Paul, I think Rand Paul is dead, and he just won't admit it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Absolutely. And you know what? You and I were talking about it on your show last night, and that is that this is just so ridiculous. When somebody's got 0 points or 1 point, and the top two guys have over 50 points, come on, isn't it time to wake up and let's talk to the front runners? At least at least get it down to the top 5 or 6. Forget about this 15.
Out of the people that were on the stage last night, 5 of them lost anywhere between 2 to 5 points from the first debate. They lost. I mean, in the polls, they went down. Those people should have been eliminated right away. They should have been. And the JV team, they got to get rid of those guys. I mean, none of those people really. I like Bobby Jindal, and I like Rick Santorum as people. I just don't like them as politicians. I don't think they're good. And, if you get all this out of the way, you should have had 6 people up there last night, and it would have been a much more productive debate. But
absolutely,
not bad.
And 3 hours for a debate. I want to tell you, I had a tough time, getting through 3 hours of debate. But the other thing is how much of this is because legally, if any network gives any time to any candidate, they have to give equal time to all of them, and I don't think the networks have much of a choice.
Well, there wasn't. There was at least a little bit more on policy and what they would do. There was a lot of back and forth stuff that didn't really need to be happening. I think probably to Chris Christie's credit, slapping down Fiorina and Trump and telling people aren't interested in your careers.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great line. I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah.
Kasich comment about the fact, if I was listening to this at home, I'd probably turn it off right now. Kasich is Bush Light. And so, and people are saying he did okay.
Yeah.
But, he's another guy I don't really care for. But the point being is...
But you know what, John? Hey, hold that thought, John. We got to go on a commercial break. We'll be right back after these brief messages with John Matthews. We're talking about the presidential debates last night. And I love talking to John about these things because he's got an insight that is really very objective. Even though he's got his own personal opinions, he's got an insight that's really objective. So don't go away. We'll be right back with John Matthews right after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 83 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California, where I'm talking to my good buddy John Matthews. And we've been talking about the presidential debate. And I think that John was actually done wrong yesterday. Poor guy. Here's a guy that lives, breathes, walks, talks politics, especially conservative politics, and he didn't get to see the major debate last night. John, I have nothing but sympathy for you.
Yeah, but then again, I got to talk for 2 hours on my own, which is better than watching somebody else.
Yeah. You know what? It's just. I don't know. I've watched all these people, and here's the thing. You know that all of these people have to have excelled. They all have to have done good things. They all have to have been successful in their own right. But when you watch them on the tube last night, it's almost like they can't put a cohesive thought together, or at least an honest, cohesive one, or one that makes sense. And you say to yourself, my God, really, is what we're offering to the White House?
Well, yeah, it is. It's very indicative of what's going on here. Now, one of the things that I mentioned it on my show the other day, watching the Sunday show circuit and listening to the roundtable on this week with George Stephanopoulos. And the pundits are all sitting there, and one of the pundits, one of the Democratic strategists made a statement. She said, I guess electability doesn't really have anything to do with politics anymore in terms of running for office. And that thing really hit me. It hit me between the eyes. I'm going, what do you mean by electability? And what we're talking about is the ability of the media or the establishment, so whether they be the Democrats or the Republicans, being able to anoint who they want to run and represent the party. Yeah. And it's not working anymore. The people are tired of being told what to do. They're tired of being told, they're tired of being played for fools. That's one of the big problems in the Republican Party right now. The conservative faction of it, we're just tired of being marginalized. So there's a lot of things going on in that way that is really affecting what's going on here. Like, I was looking this morning, One America News Network, which is one of the few news networks that I watch. They went and they pulled up a poll today by Gravis Marketing, and it was really kind of indicative of what we saw last night. It really kind of surprising. One of the questions they were polling last night was if the presidential or if the Republican primary was tomorrow, and you had to choose between Ben Carson and Donald Trump, who would you choose? Ben Carson won. He took 55% of the vote. Donald Trump took 45% of the vote. Wow. When they asked about the primary, they said, okay, if the general election today was today, who would you vote for president? And Carly Fiorina tied Donald Trump with 22% each. And so there's Fiorina was the obvious winner last night. Yeah. And I don't know what it's going to do with her numbers. But, again, the thing I love about this woman, people want to make a big deal about her time at Hewlett-Packard. I just suggest they all go out and read some of the comments. The full-page ad taken out by Tom Perkins, one of the board members at Hewlett-Packard, one of the guys that voted her out of office. And he put out a full-page ad in the New York Times saying that was the worst decision they ever made was getting rid of her. Well,
one of the interesting things, I don't like Carly Fiorina, but it's just a personal issue with me. It's nothing else other than that. But here's the thing that I found really unique, that she got blasted not on what her record was or wasn't, or what the reasons for her dismissal were. She got blasted last night on HP's decision years after she was already dismissed to terminate another 30,000 people. That can't be her fault.
Well, the point being is that she came in during the bubble crash. Yeah. The tech crash. And everybody was laying off. Yeah. It wasn't just Hewlett-Packard. Everybody was laying off. Everybody was losing. I was running an OEM distributor. We laid off. I got laid off. They laid off 32 district managers or operations managers in one day. And she wasn't doing anything that anybody else wasn't.
Well, no, and I can tell you from a business standpoint, John, the biggest, fastest, controllable expense, the biggest thing you can reduce immediately is payroll. That's the biggest effect you can have on an immediate basis. Now, but the point that I was trying to make earlier is last night she didn't get blasted because of her reputation or what she did at HP. She got blasted because HP made an announcement yesterday that they're going to fire another 25 or 30,000 people. It has nothing to do with her.
Well, it's guilt by association.
Yeah.
That is the moderators. Obviously, the moderators. The thing I liked about it, one of the things that really stood out to me, we knew going in that the moderators were going to try to nail these people to the wall. And CNN doesn't want anybody on that stage last night to win. Yeah. And the point being is that even with some of the leading questions, some of the incitement, they tried to incite arguments between these people. Overall, everybody pretty much held their ground. There were a couple of dumb things said. There were a couple of things, mishandled and stuff like that. But overall, I think everybody went in there pretty well prepared, understanding that, these people don't really want us here.
Oh yeah, you know what the interesting thing was? No question. You started this conversation off today talking about the ratings, and it was the biggest ratings CNN's ever had. 22,000 people 22 million people. But think about, when you think about what's going on on this debate, the moderators were actually like pot stirrers. They were trying to stir the pot to create controversy. They were asking purposely controversial questions of a particular participant that someone else had said to really get them to go for the goat, to create controversy. And that's what was actually going on last night.
Well, the one thing we can thank Barack Obama for, and the one thing we can thank John Boehner and Mitch McConnell for, and the one thing we can thank Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi for, is that they have exposed politics to be the cesspool that everybody for decades has joked about it being. And because of that, everything that we know as a rule and a standard is out the window. I'm telling you, at this point, anything could happen. Donald Trump could win. Bernie Sanders could win. Yeah. I mean, we don't know now. And I think that is, in a way, a very good thing, because it puts everything back into the hands of the people where it belongs. And,
not only that, John. Yeah, but you know what? Not only that, John, isn't this a fantastic wake-up call, and it's long overdue? I mean, it's not, I don't want to see anything bad happen to our country. I love this country. I'm critical of it, but I love it. And I think it's the greatest country on earth. But the thing is, we know that, our legislators, and not just on the federal side, but state and everywhere else, they've needed a wake-up call for a long, long time. And I'm just hopeful that's, whether I like who winds up in the White House or not, I'm hoping that it's a wake-up call person that winds up in the White House, and I'm hoping that person is successful beyond our dreams.
Well, I'm of the belief. This is my belief. My hope, I guess, my dream here is that we get somebody fairly conservative into the White House, because I do believe somebody like Boehner and McConnell will follow wherever they're told to go. They obviously are not leaders. Yeah. But they will go wherever they're being told to go. And if we get somebody in there that says, you're going to take Cruz or a Fiorina, or even somebody like a Ben Carson in there, and they sit down with these guys the first day in office and say, okay, enough is enough. This is where we're going. I think they'll just go, yeah, finally. I really do. And that will be a good thing. That'll be a good thing. Now, if we end up with the other side in there, with Bernie Sanders in there wanting to double our deficit, he wants to double our deficit.
Well, you know what? You're right. I want to get away from him, because there's no question. I don't support the socialism part of this thing. I don't support I don't support the Democratic side of this thing. But one of the things that did concern me when I was listening to Trump, and especially when I was listening to Carly Fiorina, when I was listening to Cruz and some of these guys, they're all talking about increasing the military exponentially. I mean, there's a big cost in doing that. That's not controlling costs. Where is this money supposed to come from?
Well, the only way that is really feasible is if we get rid of all this other clutter in government, all the bureaucracy. If we got rid of the Department of Education and the EPA and all these agencies that have been created especially since the Carter administration, and we get rid of all this stuff, just get rid of them. If we got a flat tax code out there and got rid of the IRS, we'd have more than enough money to build our military back up, and we'd probably still save money. So it's a matter of what you've got to balance the books, and you've got to treat the country at this point like a corporation that you're buying. Anytime you buy a corporation, what do? The first thing is you get rid of the dead weight. Yeah. You look around and you say, well, this isn't making money. This isn't doing anything. Let's get rid of it. And that's how you got a clean house. You got to, lean it down and everything else. If we got somebody in there, that's why I like the idea of somebody like a Fiorina or even a Donald Trump in there that has at least a business sense and says, hey, I know how to budget things. I know how to work with a budget, So, who knows? I mean, at this point, it's, it could go one way or the other. This is exciting. I'm excited by it myself.
Oh, I am too. Well, you and I have talked a great deal about it, and I probably want to shake up more than you do. Although I think you and I agree on the stagnancy of Washington D.C. And you know what? I would be okay with some of the good old boys being there if the leader was going to be effective in lead these people into a direction of progressiveness to make things happen right for our country. This fact that we're not respected by anybody, we're not even feared by anybody anymore, I don't think. And I think the first thing that the United States has to do is to get off our lazy butts and create the moment again. One of the things that was said last night, and I think it was by, I'm not sure. I think it was by Rubio, I think, and that is that we're worried about Iran getting a nuclear bomb. North Korea's already got all kinds of nuclear bombs, and they've already got a missile that's capable of putting it right here in our backyard. And we don't hear anything about it.
That was Donald Trump, believe it or not.
Oh, you're kidding! Was that Donald Trump that said that?
No, he said, we're worried about ISIS, we're worried about Iran, North Korea's sitting over there, and every day they're talking about launching nuclear weapons, and nobody's talking about them. That was Trump.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah.
I was really surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't. I'm a little surprised that that's who I'm quoting, but it's true. Why are we worried about somebody that can't get a nuclear bomb for months or years or whatever it might be, instead of the idiot? And I mean, he's a mental midget that is running North Korea that says he wants to bomb the United States, and he's got the nuclear bombs to do it with and the rocket to get it here. You know what? Why are we not hearing something about this?
Well, I think at this point, the only concern I really have about Iran is that Russia is now playing nice with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of concerns me. Up until when Russia started really getting involved, we see things going on like right now. I understand Syria. The Syrian people over there are starting to use weapons that have come in from Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Russia's trying to make a political move here.
Yeah.
That brings Iran back into the picture here. But I agree, when you have a nation like North Korea sitting over there just trying to figure out how they're going to do it, or when they're going to do it or whatever, that we should be paying a little bit more attention to them. But that's not the thing. Obama is trying to salvage his legacy in the Middle East. He knows he failed. Everybody knows he failed. He's trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat. He's trying to make it look like he did something to.
Yeah, but John, the big problem is Obama's got another year. I don't know what he can or can't do in that year. The biggest problem we have right now is instead of complaining about Obama because we don't seem to be able to do anything about it or we refuse to do it, we need to get somebody in there or get somebody prepped to get in there, like Fiorina, who says, "I'm not going to talk to Putin. I'm going to put military forces in all the strategic places, and he's going to know that we've arrived."
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. We have to start, if we're going to fight wars, we have to start fighting to win again and not to not lose.
Yeah.
That's been our problem. Ever since Vietnam, actually ever since Korea, what we've done is we get involved in these situations and they become political tools rather than security-based issues. We're not in wars to win anymore. We're in wars to project some kind of political ideology about who we are. You go to war, you go Roman, you wipe things out, and then you go home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you win wars. You don't go to wars sitting around on a table talking about whether or not you should go to war or not.
Well, we've won this war, John, because we're out of time. I want you to give out the information on your show, will you?
Well, you can just go to our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and you'll find out everything you need to know about us, our broadcast times, the people on our panels. You can read our blogs, our bios, everything is there. Bob is one of our panel members, and he comes on every Wednesday afternoon, 6 o'clock out here in the West Coast. That'd be 9 o'clock out in the East Coast. So just go to our website, theconservativesyndicate.net.
And the conservativesyndicate.net airs every Monday through Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Hey, John, great show. Thank you, my friend. Have a wonderful and safe weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, take care. God bless.
All right, buddy. Same to you. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about the birthdays for today, the secret teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, right? Yep, it's Thursday, September the 17th, and by golly, it's somebody's birthday. And you know what? Today, this gentleman was born in 1945, an American basketball player and NBA head coach. Happy birthday, Phil Jackson. You know, Phil was with the LA Lakers for a long, long, long time. And here's another guy, born in 1974, an American basketball player, renowned Rasheed Wallace. Now, you know what? Let's talk about, not a lot of birthdays today. That's kind of surprising. Let's talk about what happened today in history. Well, in 1814, Francis Scott Key finishes his poem, The Star-Spangled Banner. Yes, sir. Thank you, Francis Scott. Or Francis Scott Key, I should say. Well, in 1908, the Wright Flyer flew by Orville Wright with Lieutenant Thomas Suffridge as passenger, crashes, killing Suffridge. He becomes the first airplane fatality. Yep. Lieutenant Thomas Selfridge. And in 1976, the very first space shuttle Enterprise is unveiled by NASA. Boy, what a time that was. You know, it was sad to see the space shuttle program get stopped, and where it's at now. Certainly, we're on our way for bigger and better things. You know, the new SpaceX program that's with for some reason I can't think of his name. The guy that Tesla, the guy that owns that, started with. It looks like he's going to go in the right direction here. So Elon Musk, that's the guy's name. So it looks like we might have a meaningful space program again after all. Well, how about this? Our quote for today comes from Henry Tillman, and Henry says, "Life is something that everyone should try at least once." Well, I think, you know what? I don't know about you, but I think I'd agree with that. How about the secret daily teaching for your life? And the secret today, you know, by the way, it's all about a positive mental attitude. I tell you that all the time. I had to probably stop reminding you that that's what it is, but I feel like I almost have an obligation to remind you that everything in your life is controlled by your attitude toward it. So that's kind of where I'm at here. So the teaching for today is sometimes you'll not even be aware that you used action until after you've received because the acting felt so good. You'll then look back and see the wonder and matrix of how the universe carried you to what you actually wanted and also brought what you wanted to you. That is the secret for today. Well, it's time for our Harvard Business Tip of the Day. You know, I generally have some really great tips from the Harvard Business School. The tip for today is get back up to speed after a vacation. Well, you know, we all need vacations, but the pain of returning to work afterward can make us wonder whether the time off was really worth it. A simple set of practices can make it easier to get back into your work groove. First of all, before your vacation, make a short list of tasks to tackle when you return, noting where you'll start with each item. Set up timed alerts for tasks that must be addressed that first week back and block off significant chunks of time to get them done. And then, after your vacation, leave your email responder on for an extra day or two so colleagues and clients don't expect an instant response. Avoid intra-office social networks and turn off your phone's ringer to help you focus. And make work fun by listening to a new music playlist and doing some neglected tasks that you actually enjoy. That's how you come back and get up to speed on a new coming back from vacation. That's kind of where you really want to be. Well, you know what? It's time for our interesting but useless fact. Well, it's supposed to be. There we go. For some reason, it's not coming up. Interesting but useless facts doesn't want to cooperate with me here today for some reason, and so you know what? I don't understand why it's not cooperating. Let's try and get that thing in here. For some reason, it starts to kick in, and then boom, it goes away. You know what? I'm not going to worry about interesting but useless facts. Stupid, silly thing. You know, it just drives me. This has been a day of just fiascos going on. I've had nothing but technical problems and things like that. I don't know why that happens. You know what I'm going to do, though? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a few quotes. That'll get us into the next segment of the show. The first quote up comes from Mark Bibble, and Mark says, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" There's something to think about, right? Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? Here's one advice from a failure, and it is: you do not need to be loved, not at the cost of yourself. The single relationship that is truly central and crucial in a life is the relationship to the self. Of all the people that you'll know in a lifetime, you are the only one that you'll never lose. Now there is a thought, if you think about it. Let me give you another one. Good manners and good morals are sworn friends and fast allies. That's a good saying, right? You know. Let me give you. Here's another one. Did you know that blues is easy to play, but hard to feel? That's a thought. You know, have you ever been to New Orleans? Boy, what a fantastic blues and jazz, just a magnificent place. New Orleans is truly an American uniqueness. The food, the people, the music is just absolutely, absolutely magnificent. You know, my strength is as the strength of 10 because my heart is pure. You know who said that? Alfred Lord Tennyson. Yeah. And let me give you one more before we go off for a commercial break. He who is not every day conquering some fear has not learned the secret of life. You know who said it? Ralph Waldo Emerson. Now, having said that, do not go away. When we come back, I'm going to deal with the emails for today. And the first email that I'm going to deal with today actually comes from Justin Nolasco, and Justin is asking about joint liability. So I'll tell you about this right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 83 degrees from the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's time for us to get into our emails. That means we're coming down to the wire here. And I want to remind you that this is an entertainment part of the show, and that we try really hard to give you a good comprehensive answers to the emails that you send us. But sometimes the information you send us is just a little bit sketchy, and so we always encourage you to seek the advice of a licensed professional. You know, a licensed professional is going to save you an awful lot of time and money and frustration and peace of mind they're going to give you because they're going to be responsible for the information and the things that they do on your behalf. One of the requirements of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they do make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you, and you don't have to worry about the phone ringing and certified mail or somebody knocking on your door. It's all going to be taken care of. Now, having said that, my first email comes from Justin Nalasso from Port Allegheny, Pennsylvania, asking about joint liability, and says, Justine, I'm sorry, in past years, my husband hid income from the IRS, so I filed separately to avoid being liable for his taxes. Now, he's reporting all of his income and wants to file joint returns with me. Will filing jointly with him now make me liable for his back taxes and penalties for those past years? Well, Justine, no, they won't. Joint liability for your spouse's taxes applies only in the years for which you file a joint return with your spouse. Now, filing a joint return after a period of filing separate returns does not retroactively create joint liability for the separate return years. However, before filing jointly, be absolutely sure that your husband's not continuing to understate his income. IRS scrutiny of prior years may lead to the current year and ultimately include your items. So any overpayment might then be applied to those back taxes. So you want to be careful. Make sure that he's back on the straight and narrow. That's kind of where you want to be. Next email comes from Joe Oppenheimer from Amarillo, Texas, asking about deductible medical expenses, and writes, my mother lives with me and I claim her as a dependent. Can I include her medical Part D premiums for her prescription drug benefit in my deductible medical expenses? Well, Joe, yeah, you sure can. Medicare premiums paid under both Part B, which is the outpatient insurance, and Part D, which is the prescription drug benefit, qualify as deductible medical expenses. Now, normal rules do apply, so you can deduct the medical expenses of a dependent, and your deduction is limited to the amount by which the total medical expenses exceed 10% of your adjusted gross income. So hopefully that's helped you out a little bit. Next email comes from Rachel Pelly from Auburn, Washington, and asking about a tax-free home gain, and writes, my fiance and I own highly appreciated homes. Can we sell one for $500,000 of tax-free gain immediately after we marry? Then, after 2 years, do the same with the other to take $1 million of tax-free gain in 2 years. It's a great idea anyway, Rachel. You know, a single person can sell a home for tax-free gain of up to $250,000 if he or she owned the home and used it as a primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years. Now, for a married couple, tax-free gain is up to $500,000, and only one spouse must meet that 2 of 5 year ownership test. But both must meet the 2 of 5 year residency test. Now, to sell a home immediately after marrying for $500,000 of tax-free gain, you and your spouse must both have lived in it for 2 years before you married. Otherwise, you'll have to wait 2 years after you marry to make the first sale. You would then have to live in the second home 2 years before you can sell that. So, but the answer to your question is, yeah, it is possible depending on the circumstances. You could get $1 million tax-free gain out of there if you think about it. Okay. Next email comes from Amethyst Fotianos from Brookings, South Carolina, asking about business banking, and says, I have a small sideline business and have run its funds through my personal bank account. Since opening a separate account for it never seemed worth the bother, I've been told that this is asking for trouble with the IRS. Have I broken any tax law? No, you haven't done that. There's no strict, legal requirement that a business proprietor have a separate bank account for the business, but it is highly recommended that business funds be segregated in a separate bank account, and there's two reasons for this. It makes business record keeping much easier, especially for the IRS audit. If the IRS questions whether the sideline is a real business or merely a personal hobby or an avocation, that's not entitled to business deductions. A separate bank account for it as part of a business-like set of records is evidence that supports that business status and could very well give you those deductions that you want to have. Now, I got another email. This one's coming from Ingrid John, and Ingrid's writing me from Waterloo, New Hampshire. And he's talking about retiring abroad and says, if I retire abroad in a low-tax country, will I reduce the taxes that I owe on income earned from any of my U.S. bank and investment accounts? Well, for U.S. citizens and the rules for paying U.S. taxes and filing income, estate, and gift tax returns are generally the same whether residing in the United States or abroad, and whether your assets are held in the U.S. or abroad. U.S. citizens owed U.S. tax on all income earned worldwide. Keep that in mind. There's an exclusion for income earned up to $85,700 and by U.S. citizens working abroad, but it does not apply to investment income. So retirement abroad to a low-tax country generally is not going to reduce your U.S. tax. However, details may vary in specific situations or be affected by U.S. tax treaties with other countries. So go to IRS Publication 54. That's Tax Guide for U.S. Citizens and Residents and Aliens Abroad. And then finally, I've got an email from, Lawrence Foster. Lawrence is writing me from Chester, Pennsylvania, saying, I know that funeral expenses are deductible, but I can't find where to deduct them on the deceased individual's final tax return. Where do I deduct them? Well, here's the thing. Funeral expenses cannot be deducted on any individual's income tax return. Funeral expenses are deductible on an estate tax return, but this saves tax only if the estate's large enough to owe estate tax. It's got to be more than $3 million. So kind of keep that in mind. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics in Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com is where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, my expert contributor is David Garrett on the law, and my special guest, Nicole Smith, the host of Changes in the Air on K-Bright Radio. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And in the meantime, I want you to stay safe. I want you to be happy. I want you to just have that positive mental attitude that we're talking about all the time. And then while you're doing all of that stuff, you know what? Just make somebody else's life better too. In the meantime, just remember that I said, good night, everybody, till tomorrow's show.